What's happening, people? Back with another reaction. Back with one more Deeptronica reaction. Once again, major thank you to Han Solo for letting me know this album existed and for sharing it with me. And shout out once again to Vince Clarke, who has made a lot of the music that defined my youth and is a producer who clearly can work in a number of different styles. But learning that he made an album of down-tempo Psybient electronica is one of the greatest discoveries, and I really think this album is absolutely brilliant, and like, because of my own personal tastes, maybe the best work that Vince has ever done. Now again, I have a slight wish, and that would only be that the tracks on this album could be longer, because each of them are like, 2.5 minutes, sometimes like only 2 minutes, and so a number of them, if only they were like 6 or 7 minutes longer, they'd be even better. But still, it's an absolute gem of an album that I never would have known about without Han Solo, so big shout out to you. The last track on the album, which is from 2009, is Frame of Mind. So again, these tracks don't typically have vocals or any lyrics, so they are at best a speculation about, scene setting or conceptualization, but obviously a frame of mind is a perspective, and of course if we're in the world of sci-fi and space exploration, that can be about, horizon expanding and, seeing beyond what has been done through most of human history. So I wonder if it'll have a scale and a sense of, cosmic significance. So let's give it a listen. This is the final track on Vince Clarke's Deeptronica album, 2009, and it's called Frame of Mind. A fitting end. Now, I will say, it felt a bit more mysterious than maybe I thought it would. And definitely, there's those, like, cosmic sort of electric crystalline keyboard chords which give again the sense of scale and scope in outer space, but that lead melody, that woo, 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 that one I'm sorry, I know there's a terrible rendition or impression, Luca, I apologize, but that one had definitely more of an extraterrestrial sound. It felt like it was very alien, and overall the vibe of the tune was mysterious and, sort of going into uncharted space and finding extraterrestrial intelligence. But yes, also, again, I think there was a sense of, this futuristic spacefaring sort of sound, which has definitely been the overriding atmosphere of the album. So, yeah, a fitting end to a fantastic album, and one that, again, it feels like the coming together of different musical interests of mine. Vince Clarke being a producer whose productions, especially with Depeche Mode Speak and Spell, but eventually Yazoo and early Erasure. So his sounds defined a lot of what I listened to and was interested in as a youth. And then as I got older, and especially as I got into my 20s, and by the second half of my 20s, I started to listen to Psybient or psychedelic ambient, and that became a huge interest of mine. And indeed, like 2009, 2010 is when I started to make Psybient mixes, and that eventually evolved into my ambient excursion mix series, which now goes back like 15 years. But when I was getting into that, Vince had made this album. It was at a time when I was really falling in love with that type of music. So yeah, it's cool to now realize that happened and to be able to go through the full album and to have it in my collection. So once again, big thank you to Han Solo. Do let me know what you think of the album overall and this ending track. And again, shout out to all those who've taken an interest in this journey, which admittedly is now over. So yeah, big thanks again to Vince for taking a foray into this genre, because I think it really suits him well. And again, my only lament is that he didn't make longer versions of these tunes. So in any case, let me know what you think, and Luca and I will see you next time. Peace.